Hi, it's Wednesday, and it's Sarah, your friendly neighborhood prevention specialist here. Okay, so since it's Wednesday, that means that it is for classes grades 6 through 8. Today we're going to be talking about resiliency, and I put on here resiliency week 1 because I'm pretty sure we're going to do this for probably about 3 weeks. Resiliency is something that is super important to talk about, especially when you're in middle school, because as you get older, there's all kinds of things that come up. Okay, so what is resiliency? What are you talking about, Sarah? What I'm talking about is resiliency is our ability to be able to adapt to situations, to be able to adapt to different pressures in our lives, to all kinds of changes, and to be able to do that in a healthy way, in a way that's healthy for us. And a lot has changed in our worlds recently in the last couple months. And, our resiliency to be able to adapt to that probably some days feels pretty darn good, and other days maybe not so much. And that's okay. That's okay. That some days you're just like, I have no idea how to do this. I'm feeling really frustrated. I'm in Washington State, and our governor shut down schools for the rest of the year. So, that impacted a lot of students. Some students felt very negatively about that. Some students felt pretty positive about it. But your resiliency is the way that you adapt to stressors. So on Google Classroom, there is a activity that we're going to do today about resiliency. You can print it off. If you can't print it off, that's okay, because it looks like this. It's called Doors Closed, Doors Open. We're going to go through it all on the video, and that'll be our exercise for today. And then again, we'll do probably 3 weeks of resiliency, and we'll do a couple different exercises. So it's important that we talk about resilience, because I'm sure that people who seem to be able to just kind of roll with anything. We have resiliency that we're born with, of course. Human beings are all born with some of it. Some people have far higher than others. Some people can just roll with things, and they're always pretty even keel, and it never gets them down. But most of us need to practice ways and frame our thinking into ways that help us to become more resilient. And the reason that it's important to start talking about this in middle school, like I said before, is because there's all kinds of stressors that come in middle school and high school and beyond. For example, pressure to get good grades, pressure to stay away from drugs and alcohol and risky sexual situations, pressure to not stay away from those things, pressure to play sports, pressure to be a certain way, to act a certain way. And then there's all kinds of changes that happen within your family. Sometimes families, mom and dads get divorced. Sometimes they get remarried. Sometimes we're in foster care. There's all kinds of things that happen. And for the most part, when you're in junior high and high school, you don't have a lot of control over the changes that kind of happen around you, whether a teacher that you really like moves on to another school district, or, leaves, your parents getting divorced, friendships that come in and out of your life. Sometimes we don't have a lot of control over the things that happen around us. So our ability to build up resiliency and to become resilient in the face of adversity is really important. It will keep you healthier. And again, as you get older and you're starting college, starting a career, starting a family, to be able to practice those things now and to be, kind of stable and sturdy in yourself now will really, really help. It's a hard lesson to learn as you get older. So learning it now and practicing it now It's a lot easier than when you get older. So this first one, doors closed and doors open. Um, so we're looking at changes that happen to us. Um, so, for example, you try out for track and maybe you don't make it. I'm not I don't know why I'm using a sports metaphor because I'm not an athlete. So, if this all sounds crazy and wrong, that's okay. Or you say you try out for softball. You try out for softball and you don't make the team. You can look at that as a door closed. Okay, that door has closed on softball for this year. What doors open because you're not doing softball? Okay, maybe you do track. You haven't done track before and you find out that you really, really like it. That was a door that was open because that other door closed. Just because a door closes doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. Sometimes doors close and it is really rough, and we might not see other opportunities or other things, other doors opening for a while. Sometimes we really have to look for those things opening. But if we look at it as, okay, this door has closed, what doors can I open now? That's a great way to look at resiliency. This door is closed. What doors can I open now? And sometimes if a door closes, for example, say your parents split up. Your parents, that's a door that's closed. Your family being together is now a door that's closed. It is okay and it is proper to grieve that door closing, to grieve that. Okay, I am taking time. I am grieving this. Things are different now. My family is not the same as it once was. And it's okay to take time to grieve that. You don't get to drop anchor in that grief and live there forever because it's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for any of us. We've all experienced things that were deeply devastating to us, and we do have the right to be sad, to be frustrated, and to grieve that loss of whatever that door was that closed. But we don't get to stay there. So doors closing and doors opening, and we're gonna go through a little exercise here where we talk about that. Now, this exercise it can be a really deeply personal one. So I always tell you I would love to hear your questions. I would love to hear your answers to these questions. Leave them in the comments, or you can send a message. If you have a question, then you can email me, Sarah, S-A-R-A, and the letter O, Sarah O, at GHBeyondSurvival.com. But know that this can be a tough exercise. It's really personal. And so give yourself some grace that it might be a little tough, and that's okay. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do, the first set of instructions, think about a time in your life or times in your life where someone rejected you, or you missed out on something important, or a big plan collapsed. These would be points in your life where a door closed. Now think about what happened after. What doors opened after? What would have never happened if the first door didn't close? Write down these experiences in the spaces below. Write as many experiences as possible that come to mind. Now, it looks like this, but it's on my agency letterhead. The door that closed on me was. So the first thing I want you to do is write down the door that closed on me was. And I want you to come up with as many experiences as you can think of when a door closed. You didn't make first chair in band. You didn't make the team. Maybe a friendship ended. Things like that. Times that either you were rejected by someone or you missed out on something, a big plan collapsed. So think of the doors that closed and write as many of those experiences down as you possibly can. The next thing, the new door that opened for me was. So going back to our previous sports example, tried out for softball, didn't make the team, tried out for track, met a whole bunch of cool new people, ended up really liking track, learning more about yourself. I remember when my youngest went out for track, they really didn't think that they could do it. And they ended up, by the end, doing a great job. It was all about becoming their personal best. So once you've written down all the experiences that the time that doors were closed, and then the new doors that opened for you after those experiences. And remember that sometimes it might take a little time to see what those opportunities or those open doors are. Now reflect on experiences and respond to the following questions. What led the door to closing? What helped you open a new door? How long did it take you to realize that the new door was open? Again, sometimes it can take us months to see that. Was it easy or hard for you to realize that a new door was open? Sometimes when we get caught in our grief for a door closing, we can't see all of those doors that are opening in front of us. It's hard to see those. What prevented you from seeing the new open door? What can you do next time to recognize the new opportunity sooner? What were the effects of the door closing on you? Did it last a long time? Did the experience bring anything positive? Which character strengths did you use in this exercise? So doing this exercise, what character strengths did you use? What does a closed door represent to you now? Does it represent new opportunities? Yeah, could be. What did you learn from the door closing? Is there more room for growth from these types of experiences? Is there a closed door that you still wish to see open? That last one's a very interesting question. Sometimes a door closes that we wish would have remained open. So we'll go back to divorce, for example. Many of us who have experienced our parents divorcing or even divorcing from a step parent, we wish that that door had remained open. We wish that that had stayed the same as it was. We wish that our family had stayed together. And it's okay that you feel that way, that there may be times where you have a door that closes that you wish would have stayed open. Again, not dwelling on it, moving past it and learning something from it. That's the goal. But it's okay to always think, I wish my family had stayed together. Or I wish that door had not closed. So we're going to go back to some of these questions. Like, how long did it take you to realize the new door was open? And was it easy or hard to realize that the new door was open? So when you go back to some of these first answers, the door that closed on me was, think about how long did it take you? Did it take you days? Did it take you weeks? Did it take you months? Did it take you longer to figure out, hey, there are other things that I can do. There are other things that there are some good that came from this. Because the hope is that we always, even from our hardest things, that we learn something. Mainly, we learn something about ourselves. Like, I didn't think I could ever get through that, but I got through it. Because there will be things in your life that you think, I can't make it through that. And you can. You absolutely can. What prevented you from seeing a new door open? Was it stubbornness? Was it grief? Some of us can be very stubborn and want to just focus on that closed door, not realizing that other doors are opening in front of our eyes. Sometimes it's grief. We're so mired in our grief for that closed door that we are not seeing the opportunities ahead of us. What can you do next time to recognize the new opportunity sooner? So as you think about these doors that closed and then doors that opened, and you think, I really did get through that. I got through that and I'm okay. I'm on another side of it. Some things you'll never get over. Death, for example, the death of a loved one. You're never going to get over that. Just in time, you're going to learn how to live with that in your heart in a way that doesn't destroy you every time you think about it. So when you think about what can you do next time? So maybe the next time a door closes, you think, okay, I know another door is going to open. Remind yourself, I know another door will open. Or doors, opportunities and things that you may have never even thought of will open in front of you. What were the effects of the door closing on you? Was it frustration? Was it anger? Was it grief? Sometimes it's a relief to have a door close. Sometimes we're relieved. Like, okay, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the best thing. Maybe it's something I thought I wanted, but it probably wouldn't have been the most healthy. And how long did it last? Again, it depends on the door that closes. Did the experience bring anything positive? Hopefully all experiences bring us something positive, even if it's just learning how strong we actually are, learning how capable we actually are, learning how loved we actually are. There will be times in your life where you'll have minor and major disappointments, and you will learn more about who you are and how capable you are, and that you can get through anything. You can get through anything. You really can. Trust me. Did this period? Yeah, positive. So as you did this exercise, was there a time maybe you wrote on the door was closed, that closed on me was, and you couldn't come up with anything at first for the new door that opened for me? Maybe you did, and you thought, man, I didn't even put that stuff together. I didn't realize that that was something that I could get through, that I could move beyond and learn about myself, even if it's something that you live with for the rest of your life. What did I learn about me? What does a closed door represent to you now? Does it represent grief? Does it represent missed opportunities? Or does it represent the possibility of new opportunities? Hopefully that it's the last one, the possibility of new opportunities. What did you learn from the door closing? That's the most important part. What did you learn from the door closing? What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about people around you? Is there more room for growth in these types of experiences? So when a door closes, do you look at that as an opportunity to grow or just another door closing? Is there a closed door that you still wish to see open? So think about that. So that's our first exercise for today. And again, resiliency is going to be very important when all of these pressures come up and certain doors close, certain doors open. Sometimes there's an open door that's not an opportunity. You might have an open door to do something that you don't want to go through that door. For example, the pressures that come with middle school and high school to party, to do drugs, to use alcohol, to get into risky sexual situations, that door might open. And it's maybe not a door that you want to go through. It doesn't have to be a rite of passage for every single person. There's a wonderful teacher at a middle school that never in high school used drugs or alcohol. She stayed in sports. And because of that, her family was, they're a wonderful family, but like 99% of families, they couldn't afford to send her to college. So she, by staying the course, she was able to get scholarships through sports to be able to go to college. So those were wonderful doors that she opened for herself by not going through that door and not giving into that pressure of alcohol and drugs, and other things that might be damaging to her and to her sports and to her value system. She was able to stay the course and open those doors to be able to go to college. She's a fantastic, fantastic human being. And I think personally that she's a role model. And just because you go through a door and you think, oof, that was not a door I should have gone through, it doesn't mean by any stretch that you're a failure or that, everything is lost. You can close that door and open new ones for yourself. And you can learn something about yourself, that you are capable, that you are strong, all of those things that you can do for you, that you are resilient and that you will get through it. All right, so we'll talk more about resiliency next Wednesday, because Wednesdays are always for grades 6 through 8. Again, if you have answers to those questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. In the description, I'll put the class code for Google Classroom so that you can print that material off. I would love to hear from you. I always love hearing from you. Parents and educators, be sure to subscribe by hitting the little bell below so that you don't miss any classes. And until I see you next Wednesday, remember to be kind and wash your hands. Okay, bye-bye.